Hi, I'm Susan Hollenbeck, and I'm standing in front of the B-17 plane named the Liberty Belle. It's the bomber many historians credit with winning World War II, saving freedom for most of Europe and protecting our freedom in America. My dad was part of history when the Liberty Belle flew to Dutsford, England last summer for an appearance at the Dutsford Air Show. One of the pilots for this adventure was Major Ray Fowler. He flies F-16 fighter planes for the Air Force. He also flies commercial jets for the Continental Airlines. And he flies P-51 fighters and this old bomber from World War II. Major Fowler, how is flying a 65-year-old bomber different from flying a modern fighter?
Well, the big difference between when you get in this airplane is everything's manual. So whenever you grab the controls of the B-17, there's no hydraulics or there's no boosted systems to help you fly. So it's very heavy. When people get in this airplane, the first time they fly it, they find out it's very, very heavy on the controls. So, but when I get in, you can get in the biggest airplane today, the big Boeing 747 or the modern fighters, and they're very, very light on the controls because they use all the hydraulics to fly it. So you can actually build the biggest airplane flying can be feather light, and this airplane, which is a big airplane, is very, very difficult to control.
It is amazing to all of us that the Liberty Belle is still flying 65 years after the war. It is even more amazing that kids like me get to see and even fly in a piece of history. What was the biggest thrill for you while on this trip back in history?
The biggest thrill for me was getting to fly over the American Cemetery in Cambridge. So that was a highlight where so many Americans never made it back from World War II. So it was quite an honor to fly an American airplane over the American Cemetery in honor of all those veterans that didn't make it back. But also just participating in the Flying Legends Air Show over there, which is neat, and to go over all the World War II bases where you can still see things on the ground that a big remembrance of World War II. People are still over there, remember what the Americans did for them there. So it was an honor to get to fly around those bases as well. You see the brink lady clearing behind us?
Yeah, he's still rolling.
Okay.
Did anything happen on the trip that was a little scary?
No, not really. I mean, we had, at one time, we had to make a decision to fly to a different airport based on the way our fuel was and the weather was. So we had to make some decisions, but I have a lot of respect for all the young men that did the flight, and we had all the nice fancy GPS navigation to show us where we're going and where we're going to get there, and a lot of fancy stuff that really helped us out on the trip. But I wouldn't say it was anything that was necessarily scary, but it was definitely a challenge.
My dad says the plane is not pressurized and it gets cold for the crew in flight. How cold does it get?
Boy, we got very cold, and we only went to about 12,000 feet. So yes, it is unpressurized, and it was well below zero at the altitudes we were flying going over, which zero is very, very cold. But if you think about when they flew in World War II, they flew at 30,000 feet, and it was 40 below zero. Of course, we didn't have the heated suits when we went over, so I think everyone got a very good chance to see what it was like for those guys, because everyone was wrapped up in sleeping bags, and it got very, very cold. I know I got very cold, but yes, it's certainly not a very comfortable airplane to fly great distances, particularly when you fly it at altitude that they flew in World War II.
How did soldiers in World War II do their jobs in such freezing conditions?
Well, in the B-17, they had heated suits, so they would actually put on these very big heated suits, and it would help them to deal with the cold weather. But it was definitely a very hostile working environment, if you can imagine, because not only were you dealing with all the cold, but you're dealing with all the enemy fighters that were coming in trying to attack you and getting your target in the flak. And the stories these guys tell us sounds right out of a Hollywood movie.
I hope they don't run into me. Tell me if they're going to crash into me, because I'm going to start running.
You see me run? Run.
I'm Susan Hollenbeck reporting live from Peachtree DeKalb Airport for Woodward North.